welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Knack. We do have live tournament action coming at you. It is going to be ALT-Stracraft's AGL-Invitational. This is the first of its kind and hopes to be the first in a very long line of beautiful invitational tournaments. And we do have my friend and co-caster for the evening going to be joining us tonight. His name is Windy. Windy, how are you doing?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. I cannot be more happy to be here. This is a perfect way to spend my evening. We have so many great players, and our first game is going to be between the Protoss player in the north corner, Nomi, versus our very own, the 13-year-old Zerg prodigy, ToxLonely. It is going to be a really big clash. It's going to be on Crevasse. I think it's the only time we'll ever see in this tournament because I believe you've taken it out of the map pool, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what happens.
Yeah, this is the only time we'll see Crevasse is here in the very first round. So this is kind of the bye-bye from ALT-Stracraft to Crevasse. We love you, Crevasse, but we are going to have to leave you on the wayside.
Oh, yes. So let's talk a little bit about the map. What do you think Nomi is going to be doing? For a Protoss player, this map kind of has some few quirks about it. You do have the possibility to go Nexus first, so that Forge Fast Expand is even easier because you only have to close off a little gap, and of course you can break down those rocks later on to bust yourself out. Do you think that's what Nomi is going to be going for, or do you think he's going to be super safe and open with the gateway and core?
You know, I'd say probably safe is going to be the best bet here for Nomi. I mean, there's a good possibility that he does go for the Forge here at this wall where the rock is. I mean, I would say there's a good solid 0.25% of the chance there that he is going to go for that Forge. But my guess is because it's so easy to take this back expansion that he's going to open with a gateway, which tends to be the safer play when it comes down to it, because that will get you prepared for Nidus play a little bit sooner. It'll get you prepared for any types of drops a little bit sooner than if you do go for the Forge first. So it looks like he's going to go Nexus first here, though. So that tells me I'm going to have to think Forge at this point, because this is an early Nexus. And notice that he's beating ToxLonely to the punch on an expansion. Tox does open spawning pool here. And he's our pink player, pink Zerg, down here in the bottom right-hand corner, and up in the top right, you can clearly see that is Nomi spawning as our purple Protoss. So tell me, RJ, Windy, moving into this, do you think that Tox is too much of an underdog to take down Nomi here?
Not at all, not at all. I mean, Protoss is very timing heavy. They're going to be, especially a map like this, you know, they're going to take their early expansion, so they're going to be playing a little bit of a macro game. Especially with his Overlord, he saw the Nexus already. He got a really good lucky scout on the fact. And look, he's doing the smart thing. He's taking these outside base first, and then he's going to go ahead and follow with a quick base on the inside. Chances are he's probably just going to saturate the two, and then go ahead and go into Roach, Hydra, maybe even Mutalisk play. Mutalisk play on this map is great, especially in these positions. Mutalisk are able to come up from the Zerg's base, harass that top expansion and back all the way around, and then the Protoss main army, if they were going to go for an attack, has a very long trail to get to the front of Zerg's base. So if Mutalisk play would be great here. I definitely don't think he's the underdog so long as he plays the map, and I think that's the biggest thing about Crevasse is you have to play the map.
Right. Now, Nomi did go for his Forge first, but he put down that gateway right behind it. I mean, absolutely right behind it. And so in this position right now, I mean, he's in great shape. He's already picking up a pretty decent economic lead. Actually, Tox catching up there fairly quickly, but we'll see Nomi continue to chrono boost out this economy, and that's the correct play here. If you are going to go Nexus first, you have to make that worth your while by pumping out that economy as quickly as you possibly can, and that's what we see Nomi doing here, and I think he's in phenomenal shape, tossing down a couple photon cannons here. He's got 2 of them for this wall off. Notice that Tox already working on the rocks here. This is a smart little play from Tox. He's gearing up for some aggression here a little bit later in the game, and I think that this could potentially play out well for Tox here if he can find the time to bust down these rocks, or at least take them down to half HP, and then if he does pull out, say, some roaches or something, that's going to make it that much easier for him to to deal with this rocks and open up this front gate to Nomi's base.
He hasn't started Warp Gate tech yet, and that kind of has me concerned. I don't know if he's going to go for a Stargate maybe, and then go for like a +1.
I'm guessing, yeah, it is a little bit strange that he hasn't started. Yep, there goes your Stargate.
Yeah, there's Stargate. Okay, so looks like he's just forego the Warp Gate technology in order to get a faster Stargate. I don't know how I really feel about that. On this map, Stargate can be very good, but considering the fact that Nomi has gotten the three base economic play, he's going to be very heavy on the minerals. He'll be able to sacrifice a lot of his money into Queens and Spore Callers for defense, so I don't know if this is necessarily the best play.
I agree. You know what, too, though, is this is a risky play, in my opinion, here in game number 1 for Nomi, because this will enable Tox to potentially go for some aggression here right around the 8 to 9 minute mark and should fare very, very well. And but I don't know. Does it look to you like he's gearing up for that? It looks like so far Tox is just macroing up hardcore.
Yeah, here comes the Void Ray. So it's definitely going to be probably a 6-gauge follow-up to this. I think it's going to be a 2-base play. It's very tough for Protoss to take a 3rd base on this map because of all the counterattack routes that are possible.
Right.
But it's not on all likelihood that he'll probably go for a 2-base play into maybe like a timing attack with Void Rays mixed in, Phoenix play. We'll have to see if ToxLonely even sees the Void Ray coming. And let me take a look. Does he does have something. He just sees something being Chrono Boost, and there comes a Void Ray. He has the Overwatch in the base, so he will see it. How does he respond, though? Does he have more Queens? Evo Chamber goes down immediately, as well as more drones. So it looks like he has a pretty good hold on it, and I like the fact that he hasn't over-droned. He's on 40 drones. He pretty much, when you have playing against a Protoss who's forward fast expanded, especially on Kavas, you know that they haven't sacrificed too much into their cannons early on or their gateways in order to get up a block, but they have put up that nexus, so their economy's going to be a little bit more bolstered than normally will be. And 2 Spore Cores down going on the outlying base. Smart decision. He has to be careful with his Overlords, though, because if he loses too many, he's going to be supply blocked, and it's going to come back to haunt him.
Right.
And first Void Ray is making its way in, accompanied by 1 Phoenix, another Phoenix on the way. So they're going to start harassing their drones. Not too much happening, though. Queen is going to just ward them away. Spore Cores going down, and that's going to be an end of harassment on that base. I don't think that maybe he could harass the Extractor with the Void Ray if he has good positioning. Right. But that was just kind of shut down. Really solid response from ToxLonely.
Yeah, I agree. And this is what he needs to do. Tox cannot afford to play unsafely here. If he makes a mistake that Nomi can take advantage of, that could cost him the game here very, very quickly. And I think that we're going to see Tox continue to make very safe plays. And as long as he's not overcommitting to the safety factor, then I think that Tox is definitely in this matchup in a very big way. Notice he is working on his Roach speed. We could see a good, solid Roach push from him here in just a little while. But notice that Nomi taking an expansion here. I love the timing here. This is very quick. But since he hasn't endured any of that aggression from Tox at this point, I think this is a perfect response for this, for this particular position. And he's got a lot of units now going to be out on the field here in just a few moments. Notice he's grabbing that observer out too, so he's going to go out and get a great scout out on what's going on Tox side of the map.
Yeah, he really doesn't have much in the way of units, so he only has 3 gateways, a Robocore coming out of Stargate, a few sentries out, and he's taking a really fast 3rd. If Zerg were to catch onto this, does he see that 3rd go down? He has to have an idea that it might be there, considering the fact that he saw a pylon go down the outside. He has decided to go on Mutalisk. If those Mutalisks get out before Nomi has any real kind of defense, he doesn't have much. He only has 3 gateways, so he's not going to be able to produce Stalkers. He will have Phoenixes, but they won't be in that great of numbers. If Tox are supposed to pull up maybe 15, 20 Mutalisks and then go ahead and move out, that could be huge and just game-ending for Nomi, because he really doesn't have a direct answer to that kind of play. And here comes the harassment into the 3rd, so ToxLonely is fully aware that a quick 3rd has been taken from the Protoss player. Looking at the drone count, he is actually, Tox is actually behind on workers. I'm kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, he's really stopped droning for quite a while, and he's not producing roaches as well as grabbing flyer attack here. Which, I don't know, man. This is going to be a difficult unit composition for him to pull off. Roaches here on the low ground, obviously, they can do a lot of damage when there's less air above them. But Mutalisks aren't going to be super effective in this position, considering that Nomi's kind of got the drop on him, getting out those those Phoenix. And I think that at this point, Nomi, with such a phenomenal defensive position here, he's got more cannons here at his natural. He's got a phenomenal army starting to come out on the field. He's got this great DPS to deal with the Roaches here in those Colossus. And I think Tox is going to have a little bit of trouble dealing with this current unit composition here.
Oh, absolutely. And you can see that the Protoss army's actually got it's pretty small in size compared to that of the Zerg, but if Zerg gets a bad engagement, looking at upgrades, he only has +1.
Interesting little position here. Look at this for Tox. He's trying to, he wants to engage the army here, but he's just walking past the photon cannons. I think he made a little bit of an error there, losing a couple Roaches. And now Nomi didn't really want to engage. He did see a lot of Roaches there, so he's like, well, that would put my Colossus at risk. So I think it was smart for Nomi not to to give chase at this point. But I really like that Tox is taking his 4th base here. And if there is one thing that's really going to help Tox stay in this matchup, it is going to be the ability for him to macro up here. Keep that economy super strong.
Looks like both armies don't want to engage quite yet. Tox has taken the supply lead by a significant amount, 16 food, and both players are supply blocked. It looks like Tox does have a good composition to deal with the Colossi. They aren't that high numbers, the Stalkers. However, there all are sentries in there, and he needs to be aware of that. Does he have Tunneling Claws? He doesn't have Tunneling Claws yet, so if he were to get caught with those force fields, he would be in a lot of trouble to get out of them, because that Roach army really isn't that big, and when it gets cuts in half, it's even less effective because of how short the range are. Engagement does happen, though. Guardian Shield's going up. Good force fields, cutting off most of the Roach army. He's able to burrow and get them out of there, but is there an observer there? There is, so they will be able to continue to do damage. Corruptor's getting shoved away, and that's a really strong defense by Nomi. I don't think he lost a single unit in that. Maybe a Phoenix or two.
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 units, but I mean, the losses so far for Nomi are phenomenal. I mean, just check units lost. Tox is 3,300, while Nomi is still under 1,000 resources lost at this point. Tox is, while he is in great shape here, I mean, he's on that 4th base, but we do see Nomi taking a 4th base of his own here, and that's the one thing, again, that Tox needs to consider, is staying ahead in the economy here just a little bit. I mean, especially considering the, this unit composition that he has chosen, he is going to need to be able to throw a couple of these units away extra and re-macro very, very quickly is going to be the key here for him, I think. But Nomi, like you say, great defensive position, great engagement here. He's playing very safe. But at this point, there's no reason for him to get aggressive. He doesn't have to make anything happen. He's starting to get this kind of death ball together, and it's going to be, I think, plenty. Oh, Fleet Beacon going down, by the way.
Yeah, I just saw that go down. And what Nomi's doing here is actually really clever. He doesn't have a huge army. He has 4, 5, 6, 7 gateways, just throwing down an additional 2. It's kind of unreal of how few production structures that Nomi usually has. From Protoss, so they usually go on 2 bases. They usually get 6 gateways and then expand, but he has gotten 3 gateways expanded, gotten 7 gateways and expanded once more, and then throw down 2 more. He's playing very, very greedy, and Tox isn't punishing him for it. Yeah. It's really just not. He's just not doing anything about it. Had Tox realized, like, oh, he's expanded again, he can't have that many production facilities. Either that, or if he does, his army's way too small. He didn't read it properly, and I think right now he's letting Protoss get that death ball. That's hard to deal with, and unless he gets Brood Lords out in the next 2 minutes, it's going to be very, very tough. Nomi's only 15 food away from maxing out. A mothership has started, so very first game of the evening, a mothership is already on the way. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's got that going down here in his 3rd. Now, I think you're right, though, about what Tox has got to do. Needs to go for Hive Tech. Needs to grab out, some Brood Lords. And he's got his Hive about to complete here. And I do assume that he is going to grab that Greater Spire shortly thereafter. I think that's going to be his best play. Notice he's trying to burrow into this 4th base, but he's got plenty of detection here to deal with that. Mm-hmm. Tox is going to make it out of the range of those photon cannons for just a moment. That's nice. So yeah, so see him pop out there. Once an engagement goes, I think that's going to be a great time for Tox to go ahead and pop out, try and do some damage to his opponent's economy. But both of these guys are about to be maxed out. Nomi is slightly ahead there, and this is kind of a tenuous situation for Tox. I guess a couple nice things. I mean, he does have his Greater Spire on the way. He's grabbing an extra Spire at the same time too, which is kind of comical. But he's going to go for some serious air upgrades, I assume. Wants to keep those Corruptors beefed up. He's probably not going to turn all of these into Brood Lords. He's going to want to keep quite a few Corruptors out on the field here. And I think that's going to serve him fairly well. On his Roaches, he does have +2/+1. He's continuing to upgrade here. He's got fairly decent upgrades. But if you look at Nomi's army, this is what's most scary. He's at the same upgrade position. And quite frankly, this unit composition is better than what we see from Tox at this point. So.
Yeah, this unit composition, he's retained all those sentries. In that army, he has 7 sentries, all with full energy, very juicy. So they'll be able to force field several off that army. What Tox only needs to do is be able to engage in a position where he's able not to lose... this might be it.
Yeah, this is your engagement. Roaches right up in the face. Not a move there from Nomi for just a moment. That gives the Roaches a little bit of free reign for just a moment. Now he does have all of these Corruptors. Looks like they will be obliterating the Colossus there fairly quickly. The Roaches going up into the main. I actually kind of like this play from him.
This is a really smart decision. This is what Tox needs to do. He knows he can't beat this army straight up. So what he needs to do is he can actually get his Corruptors out of there. He really should pull them back and make him into Brood Lords back at home. Yep. He's doing as much damage as he possibly could because he's trying to exploit the vulnerability of Nomi, and that's the fact that he was out of position and he can't really stop from all these Roaches raining destruction upon the main. This will buy Tox time to remax in a better unit composition and get out the Brood Lords he so desperately needs to engage. However, a Mothership is out as well as 3 more Stargates finishing up. It looks like Nomi is before he ever engages again, he's going to have a anti-Broodlord force in there.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean,
this is
he's got so many stalkers at this point, and with the addition of the mothership, these stalkers are going to be that much more effective. And it's going to come down to Tox's ability to harass his opponent to death here, and he's already having just a little bit of trouble with that. Trying to get his Broodlords in, or not Broodlords, but his Corruptors into position to deal with this mothership. He has to do that right now. Right now he's relying on these Overseers to give him sight, and he's actually doing a fairly decent job taking out these Stalkers. I'm actually
mothership does go down. Oh my God!
Yeah,
winners are over.
But look, I mean, this Corruptor army here is actually doing fairly well. He is going to lose the Corruptors here fairly quickly, but he did enough damage there, I think, where these Roaches should be able to do enough damage to make this attack worth it. And Tox, he's been ahead in the supply count here fairly consistently for the last 3 minutes, and that is wonderful play. I mean, we've got to be super proud of this young man. Doing a phenomenal job. Now, Nomi, on the other hand, though, does have his next base up. It is, what, base number 5?
5, and look at the worker count, 66 to 48 workers.
Oh, but look at this. Tox going to go destroy the space with Roaches here, it looks like. I think he may
be able to take it down. There's a lot of cannons, though, and he just A-moved him. There's a lot of cannons there. I don't think that's going to be enough. And he's even getting flanked from the other army. This is game over for Tox right here. He doesn't have the economy support that last attack. He has nothing to fall back to. He doesn't have enough workers to reproduce, to just do that big 300 food push again. I mean, he made that push. If he didn't end the game right there, I don't think he's going to be able to end it anymore. He just doesn't have the economy to fall back on. He doesn't even have a fifth base going down, let alone a sixth or a seventh, which he really needs at this point. And remarking so strong. And Protoss armies, man, they're very cost effective. If you do not, with Protoss, you have to intend to kill. You have to shoot to kill. Yeah. You can't harass a Protoss unit. Because you know what? Chances are you're just going to do some damage to its shields, maybe do a little bit of damage to its actual health. But the fact those shields come back so quickly that the next time you engage, it's like a whole new fight, and your units are still weak. Right. So you have to be careful. Broodlords are going to be morphed in. This will be Tox's last stand.
Yeah, I think so. Now, yeah, the Broodlords here are going to be a nice little switch. The trouble that he's going to run up against is there's so many Void Rays. Well, I'm actually only the 3. There's only the 3. He's got 2 more in production, however, and that's going to really be nice. So. Oh, okay, so that's 7 now total. Once these other ones pop out, how many does he have in production? 3, so actually 8 then. But yeah, I mean, okay, so too many Void Rays actually to deal with at that point. He's going to need a lot more Corruptors and probably need to mix some Hydras in as well. But once you start mixing in Hydras, that's going to make this Roach army a little, not quite strong enough to deal with the ground forces. And he is going to be moving out. I think this is a mistake. I think he needs to try and play a little bit more defensively, like you're saying. Try and take those bases, try and get himself back on target that way. Because an engagement here, failing, is going to cost him the game.
No, absolutely. He needs to sit back, try to max out once more, and then just get a really good engagement on Protoss, steamroll his army, and just be able to steamroll his economy. Right. That's kind of what you have to do in these situations. If you're ever good idea to pick off the fleet beak and prevent the mothership from coming out again, which happened to not be on the way. However, 6 base has gone down. We run by into the main.
So many roaches there, though. It's just not cost effective at this point. And the Zergling run by there is nice, but they're not going to get the damage done necessary, and this is just putting ToxLonely way behind in the supply count. His army just not big enough right now. Just not big enough. And he's got a lot more Corruptors. I think this is the best response for him currently in that, in his army composition. Getting Corruptors out to try and deal with the Void Rays, to try and deal with those Colossus, and that's going to be difficult.
Yeah, he's just now taking his 5th base, which happened just to pop as soon as I looked at it. So he does have a little bit of economy to fall back on. I don't know why Nomi's not harassing with a Warp Prism or some DTs at this point in time. Right. He knows that ToxLonely is very low in economy, or at least has to have an understanding of it. So why not get a few DTs out and just send them to the other bases? It's not like the Zerg is going to have the wherewithal to deal with DTs at this point in time. He's way too focused on trying to get an army out from not dying. So, and Tox says, whoa. I'm not sure in response to what. That is a lot of Void Rays, though. That's 13 Void Rays, man. Wait, I don't know if you know. I don't know if you got the memo, but Void Rays, pretty good.
Yeah.
Void Rays are pretty good units, and...
Well, they are. They do so much damage, especially once charged up. It's very easy to charge them up, and...
Yep, and here comes a big engagement. He's going to let the Colossus go to work on the Spine Callers, and I think Tox has to engage now. Yeah, 160 food versus 200. I don't think it's going Tox's favor. Even with the Broodlords, Corruptor's trying to target down the Void Rays. No corruption going down. They really need that to help bolster the damage. Colossi still stands at shutting apart.
Wow.
No drones. Wow, everything. And I cannot believe Blue Lords are good, man. There's a lot of Void Rays.
I mean,
a lot of Void Rays left over.
This comes down to Tox's upgrades here. Notice that the Void Rays, they just don't have the upgrades necessary here. These Corruptors are doing so much damage because they've got +2/+2. They're super beefy. And Tox is going to take this opportunity to try and get his Broodlords now in position to do some serious damage while he's still moving his Roaches forward. But unbelievably there, Tox won that engagement hands down. He had a smaller army.
Yeah, but he just lost every single Broodlord to those Void Rays.
Oh, did he? Yeah, you're right, he did.
And Tox really should have pulled them back to a defensive position, at least made move some Spore Crawlers over to ward the Void Rays away with some Queens.
Yeah, he really needed to keep those Broods alive. I was watching those Roaches there, seeing what he was going to do. It looks like he did jump the gun a little bit. He got kind of excited there, I think. And, you know, he's got to slow down, try and make sure that he doesn't make small mistakes like keeping his army split up on accident because he's, oh, rush, I hurry, got to do damage. I just want an engagement type thing. And I think that's what we just saw there, maybe a little bit of nerves. And, oh, wow, this guy said he would go ultras, but he doesn't want to lose.
Yes, you only go ultras when you want to lose when you're really, really, really ahead.
Yeah.
But I have to compliment Nomi here. Look how many bases he has, man. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases now for a Protoss player with a Zerg who's just taking his 6th. And not even in the best location. You really want to take your 6th in a full base there because at this point in time, you're hurting so bad for economy. It's no good. I mean, he's mined out in 1, 2, pretty much mined out in all 3 of his bases. This 4th one's barely saturated. The 5th is looking okay, and the 6th is just underway. So it's 168 to 105. I don't know what Nomi's waiting for. And Nexus going down. For a second, I thought it was a Manor Nexus, and I realized it was an expansion there. It will not get canceled, so a small little victory right there for ToxLonely that will allow him to call back into the game. But all these cannons, man, are just going to rip through those lings. He's actually going to run by and check these other expansions, but
not 5 like what he sees.
Yeah, 5
Zealots. Like it.
With 3-2, which, I don't know, 3-2 Zealots, man, just shred through lings.
Oh, yeah, plus they have charge. I like that little burrow play there. I mean, once he sees these guys disappear, he'll know to go ahead and pop up, try and do a little bit of damage at the mineral lines. Though, like you're saying, those small victories, they do count for Tox at this point, but the big thing for him is he just needs to be able to max out quicker here, and he just doesn't have the economy to do so, like you're saying. And I mean, checking that units tab, he's still at 43 drones. It's not nearly enough here. Not nearly enough. He's got to consider droning up just a little bit more. So that
he's actually making 5 queens, which I don't think is a bad idea. Well, queens in the late game with full energy and Broodlords make for an amazingly durable army, especially if you need to do a big final push that, like the circumstance that Tox is in. Yeah. That it's not a bad idea if you have the creep spread to pull all your queens and just go for it. And with the transfusions that heal so much, I believe they heal 125 in one shot. Yeah, 125. So Broodlord has 300 HP, I believe. So they heal Broodlord for half his HP, and that's pretty significant. However, Nomi with a maxed army, Void Rays, Zealots, Archons, Stalkers, and even an Observer in there for detection, this is going to be immensely difficult to deal with. A lot of queens, though.
I'm mystified as to why he's backing out here. I think that he should be saying to himself, I just saw the army composition here. I should be able to beat this, especially with this many voids out on the field. I mean, but I guess the nice thing is that Tox still has that +2/+2 on his Corruptors, and we just have +1/+1 shields on the Void Rays. So the Void Rays are a little bit weaker at this point than those Corruptors. And it looks like harassment going very well, though, for Nomi. Tox trying to engage here. It's going to come down to how many of these Void Rays die.
Can you get off decent transfusions? You really should transfuse the Roaches. The Corruptors are not going to matter so much if they all go down from the Void Rays. And all the queens being taken out, Roaches being annihilated, a few Corruptors will get away, decent amount of Void Rays remain. I think that's going to be game over, man. There's not much left for Tox. And Nomi is still near maxed out food, so this is just him running through the bases now, and I expect GG any second.
Yep, too much to deal with. That was a beautiful army composition there for Nomi at the end. Those charge lots were a wonderful addition to that force, and I think it was just too much in the end for Tox to handle. He just needed the stronger economy as he moved forward there. And once you get to that late game and Nomi's on 100 bases, you just have to have at least an equal amount of mineral harvesting capability.
Yeah, and GG, well played coming out of ToxLonely. So that was game 1.
Yep, nicely done. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be going into game number 2 between these two here in just a moment. It will be ToxLonely's map pick. So stick around. Don't alt tab, always alt Starcraft. We'll catch you guys in game number 2. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Knack. We do have live tournament action coming at you. It's game number 2 between ToxLonely and Nomi. And Wendy and I are having a good old-fashioned time. We are going to be watching this current game on, what is this, Metalopolis? Beautiful.
Metalopolis. Cross spawns of Metalopolis, the PvZ. Nomi taking the first game with a very, very greedy macro play that I think ToxLonely just really should have punished. And we'll see what Nomi goes here first. See if he goes for the same kind of greedy macro play, or does he play a little bit more standard? We'll see by this first pylon. He's going to the low ground with it, so it will be a force fast expand on Metalopolis, and that is... It's tough to pull off. If you're a Protoss player and you're going to be doing this, you know what you're doing. You have confidence that you can do it because it's a very wide open natural. Hatch cancels are very easy to do on this map. And looks like he says a QQ fest.
All Zergs. Oh, Tox. If I was Idra, that's funny. 50 people just died in real life.
I have no idea what he could possibly imply by that, but hey, I'm gonna give it to him. Just say that Andrew would be angry about some kind of balance issue. And
Tox has just got such a great attitude, though. That's the best part about him. I mean, he's saying that obviously in great fun. He's trying to have fun with this. He is the only player from Team Alt representing us in the tournament this week. So
I thought Icefire was playing tonight, or no, he dropped out.
He had to drop out. He had some other things he has to do. When you're in school, man, that's what you have to do. Sometimes you've got to pay the price, right?
Priorities, man. I mean, ToxLonely he's obviously probably what, high school, right? I think 13's high school.
Maybe, I'm not sure. I can't remember.
And,
it's been too long.
Pylon block going down. It's always a good decision as a Protoss player to pylon block a Zerg who has not taken a gas, because that means they will not have Lings out in a timely fashion to really make to prevent you from getting that pylon down. So always a good decision. If you see a gasless pool, it means either it's going to be one. It's going to be two things. And actually making a photon cannon.
Wow.
A couple of photon cannons. Oh wow. Definitely intending to cancel them. I'm sure he just wanted to pull drones. Yep. Pool has popped. No queen has been started though.
I love this. I want to mention real quick that Tox with a very appropriate response here. He pulled 3 drones per cannon. That's exactly what you want to do. If you pull them right away, as soon as you see the cannons go down, the cannons cannot complete. The 3 drones will be able to take them out. So it's a good pro tip. Nice to see ToxLonely absolutely knows that. And while he did have to pull drones to make that happen, I think he's still going to be in okay position here. I mean, Nomi is going to lose his pylon. He did lose a couple extra minerals from the cannons there, but the best part for Nomi, man, is he did get this Nexus down in phenomenal time. Yeah,
and he was far too greedy to make a lane. I really think he should have left 1 drone on that pylon to prevent the shields from coming back, make 2 lanes to take it out. And on a map like this, he really Nobody's even going to block the 3rd too. I really think that would have been a better course of action for Tox to take that 3rd. It's not that hard to defend on a map, especially against a Protoss.
He is going to try and take it. He's got a drone headed up there right now.
Yeah, once you see it, this is huge, man. This is absolutely huge. Nomi really playing the meta game, really get under ToxLonely's skin. He's still only on 1 base. That hatch hasn't gone down. He's actually now going back to his natural, and this has delayed the Zerg expansion by a good amount of time.
Oh yeah,
it's going to go down at the 5-minute mark, and that's huge, especially after a Protoss player has Forge Fast expanded. I think it's going to be a 2-base play, and he's just going to go in for a really MC 2-base timing attack for the kill because Zerg is so far behind.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to agree. I mean, Nomi's in phenomenal shape. You check the one interesting thing is I would have expected Nomi to be way ahead in the harvester count, but he's only at 22 right now, and Tox has done an okay job keeping up there in the economy. He's really been using his inject larva as well, producing those drones as quickly as he can. Now finally has got his hatchery halfway complete here on both locations. Just about looks like the one up the base number 3 is about a 1/3 of the way complete. So he's not going to be too far behind in the grand scheme of things. But my guess is that Nomi is going to try and take advantage of some timing issues here because now Tox is so far behind getting those extra hatcheries up that Nomi can exploit that. And I think we're probably going to see a relatively early attack from him, potentially around the 8 to 9 minute mark. Notice that he's grabbing out that Stargate too.
Yeah, he's getting the Stargate. That's such a smart decision for 2 reasons. One, Lots of dead air on this map. And 2, Zerg's creep is not going to be spread out as it should be. He's delayed both bases, meaning the natural creep coming from the hatch is going to be delayed. The number of queens that ToxLonely can have out is going to be fewer. The fact that he would have an Evo chamber out at a normal time would be later. So it's a really smart decision. When you make little things like this happen, when you have those little things that add up, especially if you can make them all add up in the same category, and that's like delaying, the ability to deal with air. Like, if you can make those little things add up, you can exploit such huge gaping holes in your opponent's defenses, and I think it's exactly what Nomi is doing. Is like, no creep spread, air is going to be great. Queens can't get over there. The only anti-air that he's going to have is no way in heck he's going to have a Spire out in time to deal with this, so I'm going to take advantage of that, and then he can transition to someone else. He's only made 1 Stargate, so Twilight Council going down, so Blink Stalkers I think are going to be a follow-up, or maybe even Charge Out Archon. It's no matter what Nomi does at this point in time, he's at a huge advantage.
Right. Now, Tox does scout the Void Rays here before they do make it out across the map. That's going to be a nice little deal. The Void Ray are already picking up a nice kill, though, on that Overlord. And I'm thinking that Tox is not responding quite quick enough. He does have his Evolution Chamber just barely going down, so that's good. But he's really going to need that anti-air defense, because here comes your Phoenix, here comes your Void Ray, and it looks like we're going to have a serious little engagement on our hands in just a moment.
Yeah, he's going to lose at least these 2 Overlords at this base. The Queen is going to just barely make it over there in time to deal with it, but he's going to lose at least one of those Overlords. And if Nomi's smart, he might go for the hatch. A Spore Crawler has gone down. Yeah, he's going to charge up on the Spore Crawler. Really smart decision making there.
Yep.
He's actually going to get the cancel on it. There he goes again. He's going to try and charge up on something. Actually, he's not doing too much. I thought he'd be able to do a lot more damage. He had a big advantage there for a while, but now he's letting his Void Ray take a lot of hull damage. Wow, creep spread just coming in the nick of time, and that's it goes to show you how those little advantages, those little timing windows that Nomi had closed up so quickly, because I think Tox noticed that his creep spread was lacking, and he responded appropriately. And Spire has gone down, so but over in the base of Nomi, 5 gates plus initial and so 6 gate with Blink Stalkers on the way.
Yeah.
Going to be really good counter to Mutas that might be on the way, unless he goes for a really quick Hive tech. Phoenix is going down on the main of ToxLonely. Looking at the worker count, what are we at? 53 to 53, so dead even, but Protoss definitely the advantage. Maxed out on two bases, and Super's Protoss maxed out on economy, man. That's a lot of... it looks like the 7th gateway going down, so this is definitely going to be a 2-base play. Any more upgrades? Just +1 on the ground army, so +1, probably going to be +2 Stalker push, you think?
I would think so. I would like to see him go ahead and start his ground weapons level 2 here, but notice he's just making a 2-base play here, and I actually kind of disagree with that. We did see him in that last game when he doesn't see the engagements from Tox. He really should be expanding fairly regularly versus a Zerg player like this. But right now, he's going for basically a 2-base all-in, I would think. It's not really all-in, but, he's not taking that expansion soon enough, and that is going to be a potential risk. ToxLonely, known for having that alligator blood. He does not like to go down. He never GGs early because he sees too big of a force coming. Now, he does have a bunch of Mutas cruising out across the field, and Blink Stalkers taking out a couple of them there very, very quickly. But here comes your Blink Stalker push. It looks like Nomi says, well, it must be go time, so the Mutas are going to head into the main of Nomi. There's going to be plenty of Stalkers here, I think, to deal with that here in just a few moments, and your Blink Stalker push should go out in just a bit.
Yeah, there's only 10 Mutas on the field. That's it, only 2 Lings, and that's not enough to deal with the Blink Stalkers, man.
No.
You're going to need Lings and Mutas to deal with this, and those Stalkers have +1. Do they have +2? No upgrades on the way, but this third is going to go down. Yeah. There's nothing that ToxLonely can do to stop it. Yep. And it's all because he let his Protoss opponent manhandle him in the early game. He just let him just pick apart his early economy, and he didn't respond. He didn't say, well, he sacrificed a lot into delaying my economy, so I need to be aggressive. He didn't do anything about it. You have to respond appropriately, and he just didn't. And the same thing again, he just kind of let the Protoss player do as he pleases. You never want to do that in a ZVP. Zerg needs to dictate what Protoss is doing at all times.
Yeah, exactly. And Nomi has controlled this game from the very get-go, like you're saying, and now he's cruising into the natural here of Tox, and Tox does not have an answer to this. Muta play here was a bad move. He did this without scouting appropriately. And he should have guessed or at least looked for the that Twilight Council. And once he saw the Twilight Council, he should have known not to get these Mutas out, because Blink is absolutely a phenomenal play here.
Yep. It's a good decision. It's a really good counter on Mutas. You saw that ToxLonely, and there's a GG.
Yep.
Wow, so Nomi 2-0ing our own ToxLonely.
Yeah, too bad. Now, Tox he is still in the tournament, so he is going to be in the loser's bracket next. So not out of it quite yet, but he's definitely going to have a long road to hoe. It would have been nice for him to pick up one win here early on, but Nomi does get the better of him. We'll be moving on in the winner's bracket for now, and we'll be going into our next match here in just a few moments. So do stick with us. Don't alt-tab, always alt-Starcraft. We'll catch you guys in just a bit.